God, all this was so long ago. I was 22 years old. My name is Diana Morgan, and it was known as the Crowe Road Commune. Commune goes with communism. Well, it's not the deal. Sorry, folks. We're just some brothers and sisters, like blood, and then these other people that got this hunk of land. We came up from Seattle, some of us, and looked to search for land to get out of Vietnam and to get out of the States. And in those days, we were looking for squatters' land, and we came up at the end of June 1971, but the laws had changed at the beginning of June, so then we had to buy some land. So my brother and a couple other people looked at some pieces of land, found this piece, decided this is the one, and we bought it. It was the early 70s. It was people who were getting out of cities and claiming life, but it wasn't a lot of people. It wasn't in the percentage of, the population or anything, but it was definitely the Vietnam, Cambodia time, and I mean, the United States and Canada are not that far apart. So this was the safe place. It was a few of us living here. My brother, my sister, her partner, myself, another couple, and another couple. So commune was the common name of the day. We all shared all maintenance of the property. I'm a great organizer, and made up lists of chores that needed to be done, and so divided them in a weekly thing. The money went equally into a pot to purchase food, and we had one vehicle, so for gas, and just it was one big family working together to make the land work. And within a year, we had beautiful gardens that are all up top there, and away we went. And some people lasted and some didn't. We were really lucky, my brothers and my sister, that were here, because my father could touch a seed and make it grow, so we knew how to garden. We and learned really quickly. Coming in September was just enough to maybe turn a little bit of the soil, but it was getting ready for winter, which was the snowiest winter ever. And we were in tents and teepees, so it was very interesting, and we survived it. Mine was a 5-sided army tent. My brother built a platform. Up went the tent that actually had a liner in it and little hooky things. I had a baby. I was the one who got the snow to melt. 20 canners of snow makes 1 canner of water. I needed 60 canners for rinsing, washing, and rinsing again my baby's cloth diapers. We didn't do paper diapers. So then hung them up in the tent. In the tent was a 5-gallon oil can hooked up to the manifold of a 55 Chevy car for the stovepipe, and that little wood heater heated the tent and dried the diapers. And I built little beds out of like little log beds, and used cedar boughs for the mattress. And luckily, both my daughter and I had down sleeping bags. That's how we did it. So there's my tent. When we came, tents and teepees, and we had to have a place to meet, to have a kitchen. So actually, even almost before I got here, because my brother was already here, I took some poles. So it turned out to be 32 feet long and about 20 feet wide, and it was covered in polyethylene as plastic, and a door at one end and a door at the other end. And one end was the kitchen area, which I've got the pictures of, I'll show you, and then the other end was the campfire. The pictures I'll show you. And it's smoke from the campfire goes up, and it went out, but as it hits the plastic, it ends up turning yellow or orange, over a period of time. And so we just named it the Grunge Palace because of that. We didn't try to go into restaurants. We couldn't afford to do that. But the one that would let us in would be that one in Seashell, the one in the corner, the oldest restaurant on the Sunshine Coast.
The Village restaurant?
Yes. Yeah, they were human and always have been, accepting of their people. Yeah, the local store people were really generous. A guy in Davis Bay had a store, and that's where we got the fat to make the soap, and so we gave him soaps when they were made. And the thrift store ladies knew us, and they knew, I had a baby, and they saved this little warm coat, so they knew who we were. Well, the ones on North Road, Babyland here, and there were a few groups of people in Seashell, but we didn't do anything but work really hard. I didn't drive till I was 30, and so yes, and we did trades, like if we had a pig and they had a cow, we'd pound for pound do trades, or so it's fun, good little trades. You could still find them a little bit in today's world, but not a lot. They came to the Grunge Palace that I've told you about and offered us this Opportunities for Youth grant. The community at large was starting to get totally like, who are these people? Who are these hippies? Who are these deadbeats that have come to take our land and our money? But it wasn't, nobody hit us on the street or anything. Mind you, I didn't go out much. Thrift stores on Friday, or that was about it. It helped us get some tools, like proper tools to garden with, probably gas for the one vehicle that we had that got us to town, that got us to Seashell to shop at the thrift store, stuff like that. So it doesn't last long. It was $1,000. So as far as the community, they were not really pleased, and a mayor of Gibson's, I believe, was very vocal.
We can't support anything like this in this area. To support a bunch of American hippies without taxes isn't the purpose of the OFY program. They're using the money to learn how to grow pot. I don't think you'll see a single potato growing on any of these communes.
So it was all over the coast. The police are coming. There's raiding. The Moccasin Telegraph, it was called. And we went, okay, what does that mean? So they think that because of the hippies and the communes, that there's plantations of marijuana growing everywhere, and blah, blah, blah. And down they came, down the driveway, the top driveway, like 7 cars, the police, the Vancouver police, the sniffy dogs, and they're coming to arrest us, and we, holy smokes. So in those, we were still in our tents and teepees, and my daughter was having her nap, and they came to my tent, and we're gonna just march in, and I said, stop, my daughter's sleeping, don't you dare wake her up. And I just cleaned house. And they looked at me like, holy smokes, she lives in a tent and she cleaned house. So that reception was like an insult in a way. So they went around it, and looked in the Grunge Palace, our little home thing that you've got photographs of, and we're looking for marijuana. It was the basic theme of this whole thing, which they didn't find any, because we didn't have any. And then they came up, and we're kind of walking with them, looking like, what do you do? And ended up in the garden up here. And one of them, there it is, there's the marijuana, which set my sister off. She marched into the garden and stood there and said, "Sirs, obviously you have never seen a pea plant before. You see this? This is a pea. You've probably only seen them in tin cans." Flipped it open and said, "Peas, not marijuana." At which point they conceded that they had completely insulted us and invaded our privacy, apologized, ate a few peas, and left. The ladies from the United Church in Lower Gibsons, or the A Church in Gibsons, they came to visit because they wanted to understand what these people were about. And when they came into the Grunge Palace, and there my little daughter met them, and we greeted them with tea and homemade cookies, and answered questions, and they showed my sister and I how to knit, and we showed them how to grind grain to make bread. And they stayed for most of the afternoon, and we were enthralled, as we were. And that went into the paper. You leave these people alone. They are not deadbeat anything. You should see the work they do and who they are. And that was the beginning of acceptance for the commune, for this place, for Crowe Road. I can only speak for this place.
The hippie movement is made up of radicals and extremists of the generation, but the general attitude they express is in fact the sentiments of the whole generation. Unfortunately, the public concept of the hippie is based on the alleged use of drugs and the appearances of long-haired high school kids, barefoot teeny boppers, and bums. The real hippie has developed a philosophy of compassion and human understanding that should be recognized as a step forward from the rat race we are involved in today.
The noise of the opportunities for youth grants, it went away towards the end of a year of it being presented to people on the coast. We had a really good relationship with the elders of the community, the Flummerfelts and McSavanys. These are all I would be now the elder women. And that these young women were cooking and canning and learning to sew and knit and card wool. They gave us their wool and carding things, and so we had that relationship with them, and that took us more into community. The churches had craft fairs and stuff, and so there was the Roberts Creek Craft Fair, and that started, and we were the Crowe Road Commune, and we made hand-dipped candles. Actually, in those days, that was like 1970, maybe the Christmas of 72. God, it might have been 71. I don't know. And so into the craft world, the Sunshine Coast is a huge craft center. You know that, and we did a lot of things, made a lot of things, and just into that world, and food, and the restaurants were being built down way before the Gumboot. There was other kind of communal restaurants, and we made huge pots of something and supplied it. It was actually for people that didn't have anything to eat. So even in those days, even though we were deemed the poor people, they live in a tent, but they're, like, judge not, plywood floors work. Just slowly, I mean, it's been 50 years. It's been a long time. And, yeah, we were totally accepted into the community as stand-up people. Asked to come and talk at meetings, and especially on gardening. I taught some girls how to can, and through a local gardening group here, and yeah, but it was good. It was hard. Sometimes it's like holy smokes, but made some really good applesauce. It's really important I feel it's really important to support your community. This is where I've lived for all these years, and I have done a fair share of community support, because that's what's needed to keep the community going, and brought smiles to people's faces, food to people's plates. And then I get to sit here being a great grandma and looking at my phlox and the lilies, and be grateful for the life I had. I don't really want to live in a tent again, but I could do it.